while I was there, and was able to find someone who was able to guide me to the actual unmarked grave.
Wow. This is Mike and Josh. We're two friends trying to roll up our sleeves and get some stuff done in family history. Mike majored in family history and computer science. I didn't. He's the expert. I'm learning. This is Flapjacks and Maple.
Oh, you were ready. You were ready. Well, welcome to another installment of Flapjacks and Maple. So, Mike, we have a lot to talk about. So one of the main things I'll talk about, it's been a little while. So what's changed for you in the world of family history?
Well, I think probably the biggest thing for me, and this is maybe more on a personal note, is kind of the way I approach thinking about family history. So I think sometimes we like to think that we just need to dive right in wherever the tree is at, wherever our family tree is at, and just start doing research. And we get overwhelmed with this feeling of, I don't know how to do research. I don't know where to start with these things. And what I realized is that is a very poor place to start. It's a very bad place to start because you're kind of getting overwhelmed. You're trying to start in the middle, and it doesn't quite work that way. And so for me, the biggest thing that's changed is, and this is even coming from me, someone who loves family history, tries to do genealogy regularly, is actively working on his own family tree. You got to start by learning about your family history. And this is especially important for people whose family trees are filled out quite a bit. And the research that is there for them to do on their tree is a bit more intensive. You got to start by learning, and your family history isn't done until you know your family history.
Okay. So what would that entail? Like, for example, like my family tree, like both sides of my mom's and dad's side, they like live next to each other in Nauvoo, apparently, right? And so it's like my tree's pretty filled out, So what would that look like for me on learning like my family history? Is that like personal family history, like my mom, my dad, where they grew up, stuff like that, or is that about the whole tree in general?
I would say you can kind of approach it either way. So my personal favorite way to do it is to start from like the most recent ancestor in time, who I feel like I don't really know. And so if that's my parents, great, but if I feel like I've heard a lot of stories from my parents, then maybe it's my grandparents, maybe it's my great-grandparents, but pick someone living or dead who you don't feel like you know very well, and just try and learn about them. Just read what's on there. And that's the beauty of it, is that anyone who's literate can go on and read. And even people who aren't literate can go on and look at pictures.
Yeah.
And their own families.
And there's there's like text to speech engines now, right? That are free. You just pop the text in and it'll read it to you. So that's cool.
Exactly. So it lowers the bar to the point that there's no educational excuse for you to not do your family history, right? It's not about, I don't know how to do research. I don't know where to get started. It's just you're only limited by the time you're willing to put into it. And honestly, you can get out of family search and spend 2 minutes reading like a few facts about the person or one story about them. And if you don't have 2 minutes in your day to do that, then you're booking yourself a little.
It's like Brad Regan. If you have 30 seconds to make a Pop-Tart, you got bigger problems. So that's so I actually agree with that. So actually, let me share my screen real quick, and I'm going to show you one thing actually. So this is funny. So I had a family history class. Let me go with family tree, and I had to pick an ancestor and learn about them. So I actually went through here and was like, who do I not really know about? I was like, John Ulrich Stuckey. First of all, Ulrich's an awesome name. Reminds me of Knight's Tale, right? But I was like, okay, like what do I not know about this guy? So I actually went through and I researched pretty extensively his life, and I made a little video. Let me see if I can find that video actually.
John Ulrich Stuckey was born 8th of June, 1837, in Oberneufeld, Thurgau, Switzerland. He was the seventh child in a family of 8 sons and 5 daughters.
So I'll send it to you. But basically, I'm saying like he was born in Auburn in Switzerland, when he came over to the U.S. and, where he's buried and everything. I learned a ton, right? And the video's terrible. The audio quality is terrible. But it was really fun because I learned so much about him. And now whenever I see this name in my family tree, I'm like, I know that guy. The crazy thing is I'm going to Switzerland, literally, in like a few days, and I forgot that he was born in Switzerland. So I'm like, are we anywhere close? Should I go see his birthplace? It's like, you feel a lot closer to your family. So I agree with that. So it's like feeling like you have to jump in and do the research on the tree can be overwhelming, right? But just jumping in and learning about someone is not overwhelming. It's almost like you're reading a little family history book. You're like, great, let me learn about great so-and-so.
Yeah, well, and a couple things. So first of all, I would really recommend, if you can, go visit where he was to do so. I'll tell you a story about that in a sec. But the other thing I was going to say is there are a lot of studies that have been done that indicate that people who know their family history, who know about their parents, who know about their grandparents, they are more emotionally, mentally resilient. They have less likelihood of mental illnesses. They do better in school. They have all these benefits that come from doing that. And so we, especially in the church where we talk about the blessings that come from doing genealogy and the spirit of Elijah and stuff like that, those blessings manifest themselves in very practical day-to-day things.
Yeah.
And
it's like psychological benefits, not just spiritual benefits, right?
Yeah. Well, I would contend that spiritual benefits by their nature
are psychological. That's true. I agree with that. A soul is a body and a spirit, right? So,
and they're so interconnected that you can't benefit one without benefit.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. So if someone's trying to do 5-minute family history, like I got 5 minutes, let me jump in and do something, right? Picking an ancestor, learning about them, looking at the pictures if there are any available, just figuring out even just major life events, like where were they born, where did they live, Is there any cool stories about them? That's, I think, a great use of 5 minutes.
Yeah. And just pick someone. Don't get frozen by, that's going to be the best use of my time. The fact of the matter is you can't know so just go and just pick someone, just fire your mouse off at me.
You literally could print off your fan and then just throw darts and just pick one of them.
Yeah, exactly. So I want to tell you this story relating to I went on an internship to England, and this is maybe a little story that will help people like you who are going out to maybe where their ancestors lived. So I went out a few years ago on an internship to England, and my internship was in London, but I had my third great grandfather was born in a place called Shropshire, county that's a ways outside of London, and he was born in a town called Bridgenorth. And so I decided I'd take a train out there. I ended up having to take the train out to a town nearby, take the local rail out to closer, and then from there I had to bike 14 miles. It's up and over hills and stuff. It was kind of crazy. But while I was there, I wanted to just find out as much as I can about where things he would have seen, and I was able to find the parish church where he was christened. Still there, the original basin and everything.
No way.
And I was able to find where his father, his name was Thomas Crowler III, and his father, Thomas, was buried in a cemetery in this town. And I was able to find a burial record. This is all while I'm there, right? Mm-hmm. They had other burial records that didn't have his plot number, but I was able to find one that did while I was there, and was able to find someone who was able to guide me to the actual unmarked grave.
Wow.
And it was cool. And actually now I'm in the process of getting the rites of burial so I could place a headstone on his unmarked.
Oh, no way. That's incredible.
Yeah, so it's kind of this cool experience that I had. And my whole family is excited about it, willing to pitch in to help pay for the headstone and stuff like that. So pretty excited about that. And it's kind of cool to go back to a place where someone lived, even though, of course, you won't necessarily be able to see them there. I did have an experience where I was able to feel close to him, whether he was, spiritually there or no. I was able to feel close to him, and it was kind of this important experience in my life that helped solidify and help me understand a bit of who I am in my pedigree.
That's awesome. Yeah, that is a really cool experience because I think, I think learning about people and learning about things, right? Like it's wonderful. But actually, if you have the opportunity, and some people never do, right? But if you have the opportunity to actually experience something about their life in person, it's pretty cool, right? Like learning about, the American Revolution is cool. But then when you go to Boston and walk the Freedom Trail, it's like, oh, this is like it's the kind of next level. And so that's really cool. So yeah, so I'm actually going to look up this Ober, Newfoundland, Switzerland, and see if it's anywhere close to our destination. I'm gonna see if I can visit it, and which is very exciting. And I wouldn't have done that if we hadn't had this conversation this morning.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I'm excited to hear what you find. And actually, kind of to your point, that parish church that they went and visited had been around since 1147 AD.
Wow.
Sorry, 174 AD.
Okay.
And all original stonework. They have like the classic Gothic gargoyle carvings up inside. And it's not a very big building, but they have like all these old worn gravestones in the churchyard. And anyways, it was just this very like, wow, I feel like I'm back in time kind of experience. Seeing what him and his family would have seen there is kind of a cool experience.
That's amazing. So I think the next thing we're going to keep this episode short is I want to show you, have you seen any of the family history photo restorers?
Yeah, I was actually using the MyHeritage one the other day, but why don't you demo it?
Yeah, so it's pretty cool. Let me share my screen. So the whole idea is that there's now these AI tools that can, so yeah, basically you could take these old photos and you can kind of drop them in, and it will try to enhance them. But you can basically take these photos and it'll use AI to kind of take an old photo and make it new and make it a lot clearer. So it's very interesting. So I've tried it a few times and I've gotten, okay results. So let's just try it and see what we can do with it. So let me jump in here and let's see. Do we have any photos of Mr. Suki? We do have a photo. Okay. This shows me I haven't used this in a while. Where would the photos? Memories. There we go.
That is a lot
of photos. Okay, cool. So let's pick this one, right? So this photo is awesome, incredible. We have it, but it's not, super high quality. So let's see if we can do anything with it. So I'm going to download it, and then we'll go over here and we'll upload it. Okay, and then it's gonna think through it, right? And so what it does is basically it uses machine learning algorithms to say, okay, what's a face, what's not a face, right? And try to clean it up. And actually, that worked amazing. And you have to take this with a grain of salt, obviously, right? Because like it doesn't have additional detail there, so it adds detail that it doesn't have, right? So like maybe her wrinkles didn't quite look like this, maybe his nose didn't look like this. But just using it alone to kind of feel more close to them, where it's not this old grainy family photo anymore. It's now like, oh, this is like, I could have taken this on my iPhone. I think that's
more like a real person.
Exactly, and that's pretty incredible. So one thing I say, if you are going to turn around and upload this to Family Search, make it very clear that you used kind of like this photo restoration tool. So this is not an original photograph. This might introduce artifacts or changes, but it's just kind of a fun thing to share with other people.
Yeah. Does this function? I know there are some that actually also colorize.
Yeah, I haven't actually seen the colorizing one. Do you know of one that does that?
The MyHeritage one will colorize the photo. I don't. It might need to use a combination because they don't know if it'll actually do the restoration.
Upscaling. Well, let's share my screen again. Let's try for that, and then we'll end the episode. But yeah,
as a Family Search. If you are a member of the church and you have a Family Search account, then you can get free access to MyHeritage.
Amazing. So
if you have that already, then that might take a little bit of setup.
Okay, I think I've done that, but if I just log in, it should work. Yeah. Okay. Next week. We'll.
FamilySearch.org/partner access.
Okay. FamilySearch.org/partner access. Cool. I'll put that in the show notes and everything. I think the takeaways from this is there's these new photo restorers that can make you feel closer to ancestors because it makes the images feel more like real people, and it removes a lot of the kind of the jankiness or the pixelation. It's obviously they're adding detail that didn't exist, so there might be some inaccuracies, but it's really fun. And there's also ability to colorize them, which is even funner. So something fun to play with. And at the same time, if you want to do 5-minute family history, jump in, pick a random person, and start learning about them. And that's I think a great way to start doing family history.
Yeah. Make it easy, make it fun, and make it about learning more than research at first.
Yeah. And if you have a chance to bike 14 miles in the English countryside to go visit your grandpa's unmarked grave, do it. Awesome. Well, thanks, Mike. Talk to you later.
Thanks, Josh. Have a good day.